Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Talking Cafe on Friday, is it the 16th today? 15th today. In another beautiful sunrise, but another chilly start, unfortunately. Now, as you can see, I've got two people with me today. I have Sue Crisfield from Spark, and I also have Julie Wayne from the Alzheimer's Society. And they're going to help me today to talk about the support that's out there for carers over lockdown. Now, we're talking about unpaid carers. And again, I think the first thing to talk about there is what an unpaid carer is, because there's still a lot of people out there who maybe if they're older, for example, and their husband or their wife are poorly, and they're still saying, yeah, this is just what we do. You know, this is, we're a married couple, so of course I'm looking after him or her. But an unpaid carer really is anyone who is supporting, so it could be a child with extra needs, or it could be a parent or a wife or husband who are needing extra support. So it could be just from housework, going out and doing their shopping, right up until you're doing absolutely personal care and everything else. So Sue and Julie, would you agree with that? Would there be anything that you would add to that about what an unpaid carer is?
I think that you summarised it, but it could also be friends or a neighbour, or just that you're popping in.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I would say about sorry, Sue.
I was going to say there's young carers as well, aren't there? There are young people who are under the age of 18 who are caring for parents and brothers and sisters and grandparents as well. So you mustn't forget them. I know this is for adult carers, but yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the things I would say about today's chat is we're going to be giving a lot of ideas and a lot of links. So don't panic if you don't get all of that together, because you can replay the Talking Cafe later, and we're going to put all the links in the chat. So do bear with us and don't panic if we're going quite fast, because we've got lots of ideas and things between us that we'd like to get through. So the first thing is obviously lockdown is really taking a toll on everybody. We're talking about, your physical energy, because there's less people coming in and out of the house to help you. It's your mental energy with coping with the same thing every day, day in, day out, and not being able to get much change. And also the issue is that there aren't so many paid carers around at the moment through illness and demand elsewhere. So there aren't as many people who can come in and see you. And crucially, of course, all the outside agencies that you probably used before, like the day centres or the respite centres, they're of course not open at the moment, and that is causing a big toll on everybody. I would like to say that the schools, special needs schools, are still open, and so there is the potential that some of the other schools, the other agencies may be able to open for young people with learning disabilities and additional support. So it is worth watching that space and not just assuming that everything is closed. So what we're going to look at, first of all, I've put on some of the government guidelines. I had a little look through the links today. And the first thing to remember is that if you do care for someone, you are allowed to extend your support bubble a little bit. So you are allowed to have other people coming into your house to support you, as long as you don't link double support bubbles. So if someone is your support bubble, they can't be a support bubble for somebody else, because obviously then you're extending the number of people that you are working with. So a child with a disability under 5, a young carer, they can match up with grandparents, etc., for support. Now, I had a look on the government website, and it gives us some sort of crucial things that we should be doing. And the first one is to create an emergency plan with others to deliver emergency care. So, for example, if you get poorly and you're not able to care anymore, so that somebody in your support bubble can come in and help. And Julie, I was going to bring you in here as well, because I think this is something that you were going to talk about as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, before you do, I was going to slip in there because I'd invited you in and then kind of was going to talk over you, so I do apologise. One of the things that I was thinking of in particular here is that we do have a sheet that we have on our Carers website, and we'll put the link up in a minute, and that gives you an idea of all the things that you need to have prepared and ready in your head on a piece of paper, so somebody can pick them up and know exactly what those care needs are. So, sorry, Julie.
Yeah, so I was going to say that it's really important to plan for emergencies, but particularly even more so with the current climate, and that would be to prepare for yourself and the care should either the person you care for, or if you had to go into hospital. And one of the things I just wanted to mention at this, is that we have something called This Is Me. And the hospitals do recognise these, and for somebody with any form of memory problems, it's really useful to have some information by the bedside about the person, so you can complete things. It's a bit of a background. You can put background about their mobility or the things they used to do, family members, family names. You can put the person's photograph on the front here. So that's something that I know both Tom Musgrave and Yeovil have asked us to do.
Oh, that's fantastic. No, I didn't know about that one. So that is a really useful one. And I like the way that you've got the person's photo on front, so that that person can identify and say, that's me, that's my plan, and that's what I want. I suppose that kind of leads us. It's going to be one of those jumpy days where so many things to talk about, aren't there? But one of the things that I was going to talk about, so when you've got like a flat moment or a bored moment, would be to look at photographs of each other in the past and what you used to do, because that can really raise spirits, can't it? And kind of remind that person of where you used to be. And it, it can really lift spirits. And I was also thinking at that point of the Living Well plan, that I think you know quite a lot about them, don't you? I don't know if you do anything with those, where the person collects images and things from the past and writes down who they were, but then also talks about what they would like for the future.
Yeah, that it's like a diary. If they can create like a diary or a scrapbook, and then they can bring them out and just go back through their life again, and they could look at that every day, and it just is something that somebody can relate to. That could actually go along to the hospital, actually. And with the This Is Me, that can go with the person should they go to a care home for continuing respite before they go home.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I think for me, it's just one of those things where you can actually share some nice time. So when you get into that burnout phase with the person that you care for, because they keep, I don't know, maybe saying, get me this, and you're beginning to lose sight of the husband or wife that you had, or the mother or father, to go back and look at those pictures of youth is a real, what's the word, Sue? It brings you back together. So I put me on the spot there, but you know what I mean?
No. Well, it's sort of reminiscence, isn't it? It's reminiscing, and I think because with Alzheimer's, a lot of it is around warm memories, isn't it? It's the associations with those, the feelings that you see, or the kind of memories attached to those photos. And hopefully, the further back they go, they might be able to remember them. I hope. My knowledge of Alzheimer's isn't huge, but my dad has Alzheimer's, and I'm learning as much as I can. But yeah, I think I've been making notes, actually. This is really helpful to me as well. So I've been making, this is me.
But one of the things that to remember is that even if a person cannot remember the actual details of anything, they will or they may not recognize somebody in the photograph or the occasion, but they will think about the feelings that looking at those photographs. And their emotions are something that stays with them for a long time. Therefore, looking at the photographs will give them a nice feeling. So that's really important. So they
might not be able to explain what the feeling is, but it's that sense of well-being within them.
Because it's something familiar, and although they may not be able to name the various people, they will just have a warmth from those people of being familiar.
Yeah.
Gosh, no, that's a really lovely idea. Actually, that's again pinged something that I was thinking of earlier. Is I'm using essential oils at the moment, and I sort of tap some of them along my radiator while I'm working, and it just gives that sort of sense of well-being or calm, whichever one I put on. But the sneaky thing I've done, which I hadn't realised how brilliant it would be, is I put a few dots in my face mask. And when I go out now, I've got jasmine in one of them, and oh goodness, whenever I go out, it just smells wonderful. I'm in my own little sniffy world when I go out. So it's just such a nice thing to do. So it's quite a nice one to pass on. Actually, another thing that I've done that again, totally not expected to do, but you see, I've got my hyacinths behind me, and someone gave those to me for Christmas. And they've bloomed already, and the scent is just beautiful. It's that sort of fragile early spring smell, and I've had so much well-being feelings from just the scent of those hyacinths and watching them grow. It's just incredible. It's like small things make such a big difference, don't they? And I did see the daffs are already in the shops. So I always love a bowl of daffs, and the on this, makes you think spring's on its way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
One of the things we do support people with is communication techniques, and during the lockdown, people have become very frustrated, both carers and the person with dementia. So we try to support them to de-escalate situations, and one of the things I would say is create time for yourself, for the carer to just take 10 minutes, walk into another room, or put music on, and just give yourself 10 minutes to just think. So even with the smell and things that you're saying, all that sort of thing just helps to just think, put music, calming music on, or even if it's actually one person who I support likes rock, so they go into a room and put live music on. So whatever kind of just lifts your mood. So that's again, that's something that anything to distract and just make a calming atmosphere.
Back in April, we did a talking cafe. It was me and Carol Lade, and Carol Lade's a wellbeing advisor. We did do sort of some exercises and mindfulness, and she was talking about the mindful coffee, where you go in and sit and have that 5 minutes by yourself, and really appreciate that cuppa. One of the things I do is go into the conservatory and sit and just look at the birds and listen to them, put the bird feeder out, and they all come over, and the sound of the bird song is it's so soothing. It only has to be 5 minutes. So if that person has a snooze or eating, and you don't need to watch their every mouthful, perhaps you do, but it just gives you that few minutes, and it's stealing those few minutes, isn't it, every so often, and bringing yourself back down again. That's really helpful. We were having a bit of a chat earlier, because I was talking about bird feeders and mine being too big, and we were talking about maybe bird feeders that you can stick to your window. So even if you can't get up and go in another room to see the bird feeder, if you can stick one on the window, there's the chance that the birds will come and use that, and both you and your cared for can have a look at them. But then you told us of something you're up to, which was really lovely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm massively into wildlife anyway, and my garden's not very big, but I do have a lot of feeders, and for different types of birds. So some birds love the sunflower hearts, and I've got feeders for those. So they sort of goldfinches, I've got about 15 that come in a little posse quite regularly, and greenfinches. I've got a lot of chaffinches. I have starlings. So the starlings and the sparrows and the blue tits love the kind of fat balls, the suet balls. So I've got those around the garden. But my big thing is hedgehogs. I'm completely obsessed with hedgehogs. For Christmas, nearly everything I had for Christmas was hedgehog related. So it's a bit weird, really. But yeah, I'm a driver for Prickles Hedgehog Rescue at Cheddar. And so when they have sick or injured hedgehogs, I go and pick them up and take them in. But I've had 4 really young ones in my own garden that were too small for hibernation. So I've had to take them over to Prickles. They fatten them up, give them worming treatment and blah blah, and then I brought them back, and I've got 4 hedgehog houses in the garden. And I think there's at least 3, but I'm not absolutely sure without disturbing them. So, but they give me so much pleasure, and every evening, particularly from kind of March, April, when they wake up, I was just every evening I feed them. I just watch out, and I know they have very obvious habits. they have like a little itinerary, the same every night. So I tend to just kind of be out there when they're waking up and they come out and move around, and I just sit on the deck chair and watch them. I just love them.
Oh, that's wonderful. And actually, I picked up on that word itinerary there.
Yeah,
and
they
I don't
do.
know if that's what you were just thinking about, because that's something that as carers, it's something really important to adhere to, isn't it?
Yeah. I think you know, I know many people have routine, and it's really important to have routine. But I think also it's sometimes good to just take a little bit of time out of that routine and not feel beholden to it, you know, that you have to kind of stick rigidly to routine. But I know with people with Alzheimer's, it's important to know what day you're doing things and what time you're going to be doing things as well. But, you know, for people who don't have Alzheimer's, I think important, and time for yourself. You have to have time for yourself, like Kath was just saying.
Just going back to your bird watching, we do have a link to some bird sounds and activities that's just been produced by somebody in Frome, so I could put that in the chat.
That sounds lovely.
It is. It's really, really interesting, and that sort of leads me on to some other things that we do offer, because with the virtual with the lack of groups, we have had to quickly develop our sort of Zoom ability, and the Alzheimer's Society, we've started with Somerset virtual singing for the brain, and that's on Wednesday mornings at 10 o'clock. But we do recognise that some people do struggle with the technology, but I understand there's a new project that can help people to get connected online, and that's with your group.
Yes, it is. It's just coming up with Community Council for Somerset. So do watch our web pages to find out about it, because it is just in the early stages at the moment. But as Sue and I have been discussing in the past, so we're trying to get everyone online, but people are really struggling with it. So it's a way of helping people to access things like the Talking Cafe and the virtual care meeting. Somerset Film were lending out iPads to people, and we have some smartphones that we can give out to people as well, to help people to actually get the equipment to get online. And then this project is then to be able to help people to be able to work out how to get online, because I think for some people it's so alien that even though they're shown a couple of times and shown what link to click on, they still really struggle with that. So it's to get that gentle movement without too much other information. But that leads beautifully, Sue, and we will be jumping around today, I think, you know, because we've all got so much to offer and so many things to say that it's trying to smoothly go from one to the other without saying, let's talk about that, let's hold on to that, but we're just not going through. So if we just keep jogging backwards and forwards and coming up with bits that we remember as we go along, and we do apologise everyone, but do, you know, like we said, it will rerun, so you can try and pick through us at the end and work out what there is. Sue, you have started a project which is going exceptionally well, to do with and you've set up a virtual carers cafe, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it was I work with 5 GP surgeries in South Somerset, and we decided to do a survey for carers under the age of 60 back in, well, we were going to do it when lockdown started last March, and it got shelved. And then, but really we were just trying to ask what kind of support people wanted within that age group. And what came back, obviously we're on our 3rd lockdown now, but basically people were saying right now the only thing we can do safely is meet virtually, and if people are able to do that, then that's what we need to do. So we set up a virtual carers group online. It's on Zoom, and it's open. So I've been working with Kath on it. Julie was at the one on Monday, so we started this week on Monday, and it was 11 o'clock. So we decided we'd do fortnightly. So on the one, like this Monday, it was 11, and in 2 weeks' time on Monday it'll be at 7 p.m. And the aim is to try and get people involved who are maybe working carers or who are homeschooling at the moment, you know, maybe parent carers. So they're maybe available at 7 p.m. and not 11. So that's the plan. It will be fortnightly, 7 p.m. and then 11. And it's just the main focus is about an hour and a half, an hour to an hour and a half. Main time, everybody said they wanted time to talk to each other, get to know each other, support each other. If we get lots and lots of people come, we can go into breakout rooms and have different rooms for different types of carers. You know, so you may get parent carers, you might have people with who are caring for someone with dementia, mental ill health. So that's the plan. But really, it's the carers group. It's their group, and they decide how they want it to run. And we're just kind of at Spark. We're just facilitating it. Really, we're just using our Zoom account and sending the invitation round to as many people as we possibly can.
And we're happy to support that each occasion. I think the next one is Monday, the 25th of January at 7.
Yeah.
And then the 11 a.m. next one is Monday, the 8th of February.
Oh,
yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And I can see the link has just gone on there to find it. But of course, you know, do get in touch with any of us and we'll help you to get on as best we can. Obviously, that's only once a fortnight. So, you know, we do want some more things to do as well. And Julie, you were talking about the virtual singing for the brain. And we were also looking at things like there's also a golden oldies, virtual golden oldies, which I think
love the golden oldies.
And Sue's hoping to get us another local one as well, because the golden that's on at the moment is a central. It's across the whole country, isn't it? But you're hoping to do a local one as well, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
There is also I'm just having a look through to make sure I get the right things that I was going to mention. So the actual Carers UK website also has coffee meetings, virtual coffee meetings. I've not tried them. And it is for carers again across the country. So, you know, it's another outlet. It's something worth having a look at and seeing if that works for you. The other thing, now, Julie, I think you were talking about helplines, talk lines. There's an NHS telephone chat as well, or we can get you involved with someone like Reconnect or Silverline. But Julie, did you want to tell us a little bit about yours as well?
Yeah, the Alzheimer's Society have a chat line called Talking Point that people can join by logging on to alzheimers.org.uk/talking point. This is an online community and it's available 24 hours a day and it's free of charge. We also have companion callers who were introduced at the beginning of the first lockdown, and they are for both carers or people with dementia. And you can find information about that or the singing for the brain by contacting one of the dementia support workers, which is I'm one of the 6 that work in Somerset. And shall I give you the Somerset office number at this point?
That would be lovely. Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll tap it in as you say it.
It's 01458 251 541.
And that's the Alzheimer's main line, isn't it?
That's the Somerset office, and that is you will get an answer phone, but that is checked regularly throughout the day, and either myself or another dementia support worker will contact you.
Lovely. If you just put it on when I'm typing it out, I was just suddenly struggling on regularly. My fingers had gone back to front, and I was putting it on.
Sorry.
And you've got there already. Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, one of the problems that we have got, which is why these sort of being able to talk is so important, is the fact that there isn't the actual ability so much to be able to physically have space from that person. So we know that the government say that you can have your support bubble and you can have somebody in who can take over from you if you've got that person. You've also got people who are able to, so you've got paid carers who can come in and do a sitting service. The Philo project is open at the moment, but it's on limited spaces. So the Philo project is where they will take somebody who is a dementia sufferer, as long as they are continent, and take them to somebody else's house in a group and be able to work with them for the day. Now, obviously, just simple by being a group dynamic, that is obviously being affected. So there are a few kind of avenues out there of things to help you. But in the meantime, because there isn't very much out there, It is, well, one thing is you can phone adult social care to see if you're eligible for a sitting service if you feel that you're getting to carer breakdown point and you need a bit of rescuing.
Can I just jump in at that point,
yeah.
just to say that for carers, they often don't realise they are getting to that breaking point, and to consider introducing support at home before they actually need it. So then the person with dementia or the carer gets familiar with that person that's coming in, but it also will help the carer from reaching that breaking point.
Yeah, no, that is really true. And like you say, particularly if you're at a crisis point and you invite somebody new in and you're already stressed, the cared for will be stressed because they know you're stressed and they're less likely to accept someone. Whereas if they're used to somebody coming in and out of the house beforehand, the transition will be much easier, won't it?
Yeah, it's really difficult for carers actually just to accept somebody coming into their home. It's just as big a step for them as it is the person with dementia.
Yes, no, I can imagine. Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we were talking about as well is ways of reducing the amount of stress that you put yourself under. And as carers, a lot of the time you feel kind of it's your duty to do everything, and slowly but surely you're becoming more and more wound up as you're trying to achieve everything. And I always think, if you think about sort of how businesses work, how the government itself works, if they haven't got the resources within themselves, they buy in those resources. And that's how they manage to keep going. And it's the same with carers. You can't do everything. So you might be able to do all of those things, but you can't do everything all at once. And that's the point where you have to become like a business and think to yourself, I need to buy in support. And one of the things on the government website it says is to make sure that you're well nourished so that you don't get run down and exhausted. But that actual thing of cooking a meal all the time, every day, when you can't get out to the shops all the time, that in itself is a stress. So some of the things that we've got on offer is the carer service do offer sort of food packs, respite food packs, where we can send you out some frozen food. Now, the frozen food is made by the Somerset Meals School Service, because obviously at the moment they're not providing school meals. So they've turned their attentions to providing frozen meals that can then be given out to people who need food, at any particular point, whether that's because they've lost their job through COVID or whether they're just in a crisis state. So, do use that service. Give us a call and we can offer you some of those frozen foods. We've had really good feedback from them. And obviously, because they're being used in catering kitchens, that, they're clean, they're made to be healthy. So it actually just gives you that little bit of a break where you don't have to source food, cook it, etc.
I just want to say there, Kath, how fantastic that was for, I know you've supported a couple of people for me, and it literally was a lifeline for them. So, and they were so appreciative of that. So thank you.
No, that's really good to hear. Actually, I have to admit, they brought a tear to my eye, one of those couples, because I sort of, one day I just had some left over and I just turned up at their door and said, here you go. And she was like, you just don't realise how good this has been for us. It's taken such a weight off our mind. And honestly, I was quite choked up. It was lovely. But if the other things that you can do as well is to use things like sort of meal services that are out there and available, and a lot of them at the moment have got kind of reduced delivery charges because they appreciate that there's such a need. So I've put up some, or will be just popping up some numbers for. So there's the Yeovil South Street Meals on Wheels, which are only about £5 a meal, I think, £5-6 a meal. And then you've got things like there's a lady in Chard called Zoe Coughlin who does deliveries of different meals for quite a cheap price. There's also things that we talk about, sort of like Wiltshire Farm Foods, and there are lots of different frozen foods, and you could just go and buy frozen food from your supermarket. But the thing that these people do is they'll come to your house, drop it off, they'll even put it in your fridge for you. And from what I gather, they're still allowed to do that. But these foods are, again, they're nutritionally balanced, and I know they source all their own fruit and veg, and with the veg they literally peel them, chop them, dip them in hot water, and then they're fast frozen, so all the nutrition is there. So you don't have to feel guilty about using them because they are nutritionally balanced. Probably, actually, let's be honest, probably better than some of the meals we cook sometimes, where your eye goes off the ball and the vegetables go mushy or whatever. So they do use them. They are there to be used.
I just at that point, there's also Morrison's have I don't know, they have a support number that
yes, I can tell you off by heart. It's 0345 611 6111.
So what's brilliant about that is people can just phone in the order and they deliver the next day, and they then help them with the orders going forward, don't the helpline? They kind of have some support.
Yes, that's right. Yes, so because a lot of people who aren't online, obviously, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't do online supermarket shopping. It just sounds terrifying, and so many people have mastered the art of it, and have also been able to take advantage of the priority slots, which we can help you with, to get hold of those priority slots to make sure you get your food. But yeah, if you can't get hold of that, then Morrison's are brilliant. They only go 10 miles into their radius, out of their area, but there's one in Yeovil and there's one in Taunton, and
there's one in Wincanton.
Perfect.
Well,
and I think
that's it. Well, yeah.
So by the time you've kind of, most people will be in that 10-mile radius. Yeah, it is really good. And some of the local shops will do delivery to you of your milk and your bread and things like that. And there's Milk and More and people who can just do those little top-ups for you. I mean, it is tricky because of course it does end up costing more than if you were using one of the bargain supermarkets, who aren't offering any of this. But I guess we've got to appreciate that the bigger supermarkets are putting on this massive service for us at a cost themselves, and so unfortunately we do have to pay a little bit more.
And don't forget as well that we've got across the county, there's about 120 coronavirus support groups in each community that are ready and able to do shopping and collecting prescriptions, and they're there, they want to help, and they're all volunteers and they really want to help. So if you're not sure what group covers your area, you don't have the number, please ring Spark, and the Spark number is 01458 550 973, or if you're online, obviously you're online because you're on here, but you can go onto the Spark Somerset website and there's a live chat function, and there's a team of us that go on there and we'll reply. So if you want to know who your nearest COVID group is, please get in touch and we can just put you in touch with them straight away.
Oh, that is a brilliant point. Yeah, sorry Julie, you were going to say something at the same time, weren't you?
Yes, we can also put you in touch with NHS responders as well. So again, we offer that support. But I was just going to say that that Morrison's next day delivery, they don't charge for delivery.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So
fabulous. And I think the thing to remember is, people talk about sort of, the support out there, but you do actually need to use it, and don't, it is there to be used, and it's not a weakness to use it. It is your strength to take that courage to maybe phone a phone number that you wouldn't use normally. I know sometimes things like the supermarket phone numbers and things, they can be quite difficult to negotiate at first, and it takes an extra bit of inner strength to get that working in the first place. But it's really worth it because they are your support team, and they are there to help you. So do use them. Don't feel that you need to carry on by yourself, because that's not helping anybody. The last thing we want is for you as a carer to be on your knees and having to give up because you've worn yourself out trying to be everything. That's no help to anybody, and especially to yourself. So I think I'm just having a quick look through all my little bits that I had that I wanted to chat about, and I think I am pretty well there. So I wonder, was there anything that Sue and Julie, if you wanted to add, that you might have some ideas of things that we may not have mentioned yet, since we've kind of have jumped around a little bit today?
No, I don't think so. I think that's probably mostly what we've covered most of it. I was going to say a bit more about the Golden Oldies in South Somerset, because just before lockdown we had a taster session in Bruton, and that was so much fun, and it was very well attended, and people were desperate to come back, and then we went into lockdown. And Golden Oldies across the country now none of the groups are meeting in person, but they are online. And they've got these twice weekly singing groups you can just join in with. But as soon as lockdown is over and we're allowed to meet safely again, then we're going to carry on with the group in Bruton. We're also going to do one in Queen Camel and Milbourne Port. So and Wincanton at the Balsam Centre, hopefully. But that's the kind of that we're not sure about that one. But yeah, we've got funding and we're very excited to get that going again. But it probably won't be for at least 6 months, I imagine.
And the thing is with those, you don't have to be a carer or a cared for to go to these.
No.
These are just activities that are open to anyone.
Yeah.
And another thing I say is some people, when they hear that it's singing, they think, oh, I don't think I fancy that.
Doesn't matter.
Because I'm not a singer. But actually, when you go to something like that or click on, I mean, I would say, I've been to a few of them myself, and what I've really enjoyed is watching people's faces light up and start singing. So although a lot of the songs, because they're golden oldies, well, some of them I know and I've enjoyed a good holler along to, because it's singing. I think sometimes we need to remove that word singing, because it's proper holler along and enjoy the ones that you remember, dance around the room kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it lifted my heart watching everyone else doing it, and I started to in the ones that I remembered, and that buzz afterwards, you don't need to be able to sing, and just come and watch people having fun, and it just lifts your spirits, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's great, and it gets people moving. I like the fact that people, we just all got up on our feet and we just said, look, you can sway, you can move around as much as you want, and people loved it. It was an hour of pure joy. I just loved it. So yeah, we'll get going as soon as we can.
Oh,
whenever we do singing at the memory cafes as well, they just everyone feels uplifted. So I think singing does that. Even when people say, oh, I don't sing, then they go along to something like that, or singing for the brain, and they suddenly think, what, maybe I do like singing.
Despite yourself, you'll be smiling. Oh. And I think one of the things as well to remember when you're feeling really low and desperate, yes, there are people, please do phone us, phone all the agencies that are there to support you. There will always be somebody to talk to, whether it's someone like Mind or the Samaritans. People think of Samaritans as like a last resort, there's, you see the pictures of it on the bridge, but actually Samaritans are there not to be a last resort. They're there for you to just have a chat with it, just to raise your spirits when you're getting to that point where you're thinking, oh, and if you can't find some of these other agencies that are there, please do, give them a call, and they will just chat with you in the same way that a regular befriending phone call chat will, or your friend will. They're all through the night as well. So, rather than waking your friend up saying you feel miserable, give them a call, because they're sitting there waiting for your call to come in. So don't feel like if you're phoning the Samaritans that you've kind of reached that last crisis point. It absolutely isn't for that. It's for that chat before you get there. So please do use all of those resources that are out there.
I'm just going to put the Somerset Mind line in the chat as well, because that's open 24 hours a day and people can call at any time, any age. That's for young people and adults. They can just go and have a chat with somebody if they're really struggling.
Brilliant. And if you don't feel like you want to chat to someone, don't forget those forums are out there, so you can actually type in, and there'll be other people sort of around at the same time as you. If loved one can't sleep and is keeping you awake or whatever, or you can't sleep feeling so stressed about it, you can tap in on your fingers, and then sometimes that doesn't feel quite so scary, does it, as picking up the phone to somebody if you've never done it before.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I think we're kind of at the end now, and thank you so much, Sue and Julie, for joining me. I think looking at the chat, thank you, Joe and Wendy, and I think we've had a few people, if I scroll back up, a few people who've joined us, there's Steve and Sarah, and I think there was somebody who was very new to us, so I hope Kerry and Carolyn. So thank you so much, everyone that's joined us. I'm still scrolling up, so if I've missed you off, please don't feel offended, because I'm sort of talking fast and trying to scroll at the same time. But I saw you as you came on, and thank you so much for joining us. I hope it has been useful, and don't feel scared to pick up that phone. So brilliant. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to end the broadcast now, and we will see you again. Well, there's a Talking Cafe every day at this time, and as Julie said, the actual online carers meeting will be 7 o'clock next Monday. This Monday, next
It's
Monday.
the 25th.
No, it's the 20. What was it? Sorry,
I think it's
I know, I put you on
the
the spot
25th of January.
25th of January, 7 p.m. Be there or be square.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And if you go
Thanks,
on to
everybody.
if you
Thank
go onto
you.
the Somerset Carers website, all of that will be on there, as well as on this, and you can replay this in about 15-20 minutes once it's loaded up. So brilliant. Again, everyone, lovely to see you all. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.